Did you know that in Girona, there once existed a bridge that, according to legend, was not built by human hands? The townspeople claimed that the bridge appeared far too quickly, in a single dawn. That the night before, there had been absolutely nothing, and the next day, there it was, enormous, perfect and cold, like a threat that didn't ask permission to exist. They called it Pont del Dimoni, and believe me, that name wasn't an exaggeration or a decorative flourish. It was a warning, one that few chose to hear in time. Everything began with a farmer exhausted from fighting the Ter River, a river capable of swallowing crops, carts, animals and people without apology. Every attempt to take his goods to the market was a gamble that could cost him his life. Each season was worse. The river ruined his efforts, his family suffered, and he no longer knew what else to do. One afternoon, fed up and frustrated, he said out loud that he needed a bridge, even if it took a miracle or a cursed whim of fate. They say the farmer sat on a rock and cursed his luck with such fury that his voice echoed through the trees. And just as he finished venting, someone answered his complaints. It wasn't a curious neighbor, nor a lost traveler, nor a drunk looking for conversation. It was a calm voice, too calm, as if it were used to hearing the laments of others. The farmer said a chill ran down his back, and when he turned, he saw a man dressed in black watching him without blinking. The farmer swore until his last day that the man had no shadow, and yet there was something about him that seemed to occupy too much space, as if the world had not been designed to hold him. The stranger asked why he complained so much, and patiently listened to the explanation of the impossible bridge. Then he spoke with absurd confidence, saying, "I can raise your bridge before dawn." Just like that. No emotion, no drama, as if offering to fix a broken door. Frightened, but intrigued, the farmer asked what he wanted in return. Because no one offers an entire bridge without asking for something strange, and this man didn't look like the exception. The answer was as simple as it was disturbing. "I only want the soul of the first one who crosses the bridge." He said it with such calm that it almost sounded reasonable. But the farmer knew instantly who he was facing. He wasn't an architect. He wasn't a traveler. He was the devil. The farmer felt a shiver that nailed his boots to the ground. He knew he was speaking to someone who never asked for small things. But he was also a desperate man, cornered by a river that destroyed every hope of prospering. His family depended on him. No one else would build that bridge, and in that raw state of need, he agreed. He did it to survive, not to respect infernal rules. He was already thinking about how to avoid paying the price. That night, the townspeople heard impossible noises. Sharp blows, stones crashing, the echo of frantic work that seemed to be done by dozens of invisible hands. No one dared go outside. Everyone pretended to sleep while the river rumbled with a strange sound. And when dawn came, the bridge was there. Perfect, enormous, solid. So well built that no one could deny that something supernatural had intervened in its creation. The farmer knew what that impossible structure meant. He knew he had to keep the pact, but he also knew he would never offer his soul, nor that of any innocent person in the village. So he spent the night thinking, and before the devil returned at dawn, he left his house with a goat. A skinny, stubborn, but obedient goat. It was his key piece, his only card, and he carried it with a silent determination that no one understood at the time. When the devil returned, he was satisfied with his creation. The farmer said his smile was too human to be real. The devil reminded him of the deal with absolute calm. The farmer nodded, took a deep breath, and pretended he was ready to comply without argument. The devil insisted, "Let the first one cross." And the farmer, without trembling, released the goat's rope so it would walk toward the bridge. The goat moved forward with absolute ignorance of the infernal pact that defined its fate. It walked with the tranquility of someone who knows no danger. The devil frowned for the first time, surprised by the audacity. He said, "That is not what we agreed." But the farmer kept his gaze steady. "You asked for the soul of whoever crossed first," he replied. "You never said it had to be human." The silence that followed was so absolute, it felt unnatural. Not even the wind moved. The river made no sound. The birds didn't dare sing. The devil took a step toward the bridge, perhaps intending to stop the farce, but the goat was already on the other side. The farmer pointed calmly and said, "There is your soul," and the goat bleated as if celebrating the greatest trick ever pulled in Catalonia. The townspeople, watching from a distance, froze between terror and fascination. No one imagined that a simple farmer could outwit the devil, but he had done it. The devil growled, and the air changed temperature, becoming dense, dangerous, almost unbearable. He said, "This will not remain as it is," and each word seemed to ignite the air around them. But no matter how much rage he showed, he couldn't break the pact. A deal is a deal, even for him. With a roar that echoed like thunder, he vanished into smoke and shadow. But before leaving, he gave a warning that chilled the farmer's blood. "I will return for the one who humiliated me." That sentence lingered in the air like poison that would take time to take effect. From that day on, the farmer never slept peacefully again. Even though everyone congratulated him for his cleverness, he knew the devil didn't forget or forgive. He said that every night he heard footsteps behind his house. Slow, heavy footsteps that didn't sound like they belonged to a man or an animal. No one wanted to check whether he was telling the truth because deep down, everyone feared he was. The town began noticing strange things around the bridge. Some claimed they heard breathing beneath the arches, as if someone were hiding and waiting. Others said that when crossing, they felt a tug on their clothes, like invisible hands trying to stop them. Everyone agreed that the bridge had been marked by the devil's rage. An old woman swore she saw a massive shadow crossing the bridge one night. She said it had no defined shape, but two red points where eyes should be. When asked if she was sure, she answered with only one phrase: "When you see the devil once, the soul recognizes him after." No one doubted her again. The farmer grew old with the weight of fear on his shoulders. He said he heard a voice every night repeating, "That was mine," over and over. He said he felt cold breath on his neck while he worked. That sometimes he found marks in the soil near his house. Marks that looked like footprints, but were far too large to belong to common animals. One dawn, the farmer disappeared. There were no screams, no signs of struggle, no witnesses. The door was open, the bed untouched, and his tools leaning against the wall, as if he had stepped out willingly. They found only damp footprints on the ground leading toward the bridge. Footprints that didn't match any local animal, but didn't match human feet either. The town understood immediately what had happened. They needed no explanations. They said the devil had returned for his wounded pride, not for the deal. It had never been about the goat's soul. It was about humiliation. And a being like that does not allow himself to be mocked, even if the trick was legal under his own rules. From that day forward, the bridge became a living warning. The elders said, "Never deceive someone you cannot face afterward." And that phrase became part of local folklore, passed down through generations as a reminder that supernatural pacts always have consequences, even when you win. With the passing of the years, the Pont del Dimoni was rebuilt, repaired, and modified. But the story never disappeared. In Girona, there are still elderly people who point to the place where the original bridge stood and say, "Here he was fooled, and from here he was taken." And though their voices sound calm, they always look back as they say it. Some modern residents claim that on certain early mornings, heavy footsteps can be heard on the bridge. Sometimes they sound like hooves striking stone. Other times like slow, dragging steps, too deep to belong to a man. Many do not dare cross it when there is fog, because they say the shadow of someone else walks beside them. Others swear they've seen silhouettes peeking from the lower arches of the bridge, figures that disappear the moment one blinks. Some say the fog takes human shapes in winter, and that if you listen closely, you can hear a distant bleat like that of the goat that changed the town's history. The most superstitious say the devil still lingers near the bridge, seeking those who carry guilt or secrets, because the structure was impregnated with the energy of that ancient confrontation. They claim the air grows colder when a lie crosses your mind as you walk by, as if something invisible were trying to tear it out by the root. There are those who say that even today, if you stop in the middle of the bridge and close your eyes, you feel a weight behind you, as if someone were breathing on your neck. Some open their eyes and see nothing, Others believe they see a long shadow slowly moving away, and a few swear they've heard a voice whisper, "That was mine." Over time, the story became part of the local identity. Children grew up hearing it, and tourists repeat it with fascination. But the elders insist it isn't just a tale. They say the truth lies in the small things, the uncomfortable silences, the noises that shouldn't exist, the feeling of being watched for no reason. Sometimes a curious visitor asks why they still fear a bridge that isn't even the original anymore. The locals answer that it isn't the bridge that matters, but the place. They say some sites are marked for life, that certain energies never fully disperse, and that the shadow of that pact still lingers. Even those who don't believe in the supernatural admit to feeling something strange when passing through the area. A mix of nostalgia, fear, and an indescribable weight in the chest. Some attribute it to the legend, others to the architecture, others to suggestion. But everyone agrees it's a place where one doesn't want to remain alone for long. And so, the Pont del Dimoni lives in collective memory as a warning disguised as a fable. A story about cleverness, desperation, and consequences. Because the devil didn't take the farmer for the deal, but for the insult. And anyone who understands that knows why people still respect that place, even if they won't admit it aloud. So if you ever travel to Girona and hear a soft bleat or a faint whisper near the bridge, don't stop to investigate. Don't look back. Don't search for shadows where there shouldn't be any. Just keep walking. Some stories are told to entertain, but this one is told to warn, and warnings are never ignored. And before you leave, remember that shadows always hold more stories than they reveal. If this tale left you with that uneasy feeling on your back, that one that makes you glance sideways at any old bridge, then join us on this path of real legends, ancient echoes, and secrets that never rest. Subscribe to Susurros del Mundo Oscuro, activate notifications, and keep listening to these voices that come from places where the light never reaches. Here, every story leaves a mark, and the next one is already waiting for you.